It's time for us to take back our communities and create unity. Community vibes with Brown. Come take a walk with me. Community vibes with Brown. Get it, King T finesse. We hit the streets running. You know we coming. Building with knowledge to inform, to bring the love in. It's the unity in our community. Reform, move on to be strong. It takes you and me. Bring the issues, let's talk about it. Make a plan, bring it to life and never doubt it. To inspire, keep you going higher. Words put to action, fuel to the fire. Life gets better when we do it together. Brown eyes, King T, finesse, time to get up. Get up. Get up. For everyone, the best. Hit it, King T, finesse. Join in and catch the vibe. All right. Welcome to Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, our kickoff show for 2022. And I'm so excited to be here with you on this live podcast. We're going to have a lot of things going on this season on this show, talking about community and interviewing people from the community that are doing great things. You know, there was so much going on in the world today before the pandemic, you know, during the pandemic, and now that we're still in it. We had to learn so many new things. We had to learn how to remote from our jobs. We had to learn how to remote to school. We had to learn new ways of communicating and a new way of life that we're still living today. And with that going on, we also had to create some new things. And one of the new things that we created that has been very successful that I see out here in social media is social media. You know, a lot of people are creating new talk shows, new information sessions, and I came up with the idea that we could network the community through this avenue as well, and thus came Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. So I'm just so happy to be here today, and thank you all for tuning in today, because it means a lot to me for the support, for you to come on and to be involved with everything that we're doing. Now, I had been doing a couple of podcasts before this live show. You can find them on TuneIn Radio and also iHeartRadio. And basically, those podcasts served as a means for me just to introduce myself as a person that grew up in an urban city, you know, in a poor community, that had to learn things from adults in the community and learn how to take opportunities to be able to learn new things, to grow and be successful in my life. So with all those years of experiencing all types of community organizing and events that I participated in and all the things that I learned from people, it comes to now wanting to give back and pay it back forward. And I think that's what this opportunity with Community Vibes with Brown Eyes will bring, by connecting with people in the community and interviewing them to show some of the things that they are doing. So one of the things I want to say is that I like to sum up a lot of that I talked about. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and Far Rockaway, Queens. Yes, I must mention Far Rockaway, Queens, because from a teenager to adult, I lived there. And from a younger child to a teenager, I grew up in Brooklyn. And I experienced a lot of poverty in my neighborhood, a lot of things that could have held me back and put me in a lot of different circumstances and positions in life that would not have made me a successful adult. So with those challenges, you know, I had adults in the community that chose to step outside of their households. I'm talking about mothers. I'm talking about community residents, people who just came up with ideas that used their homes and any little thing that they had to come into the community and give young people and adults a chance to do something successful with their ideas and their participation. So with that in mind, I learned so many things in terms of community organizing, networking with people in the neighborhood, and I started to grow in that. You know, I started growing. I was one of the kids that used to give out flyers, always wanted to help out, you know, in whatever it is that they were doing to help the block, whether it was a resource or something that was going to give parents some information about how to find ways to get services to feed their family or pay bills or whatever that may be. As I got older and I moved into Far Rockaway, Queens as a teenager, I was a young mother and I was a young hip hop artist. And I used music and my lyrics as a vehicle and an avenue to promote positivity and send messages of encouragement and inspiration to others. And there is where I got involved in bigger organizations and learned from people in the business community, adults that had other skills, experiences, and degrees in certain professions, and just adults that had experience and knew things that were out there concerned about the same ills of the community that I was, that wanted to wholeheartedly teach me and guide me so that I would come out of those things not being scathed or being affected negatively by what the environment was that we were living in. So that's the inspiration for Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. And since I've been embarking on that type of thing, I produced block parties, talent shows, organized in the community, did outreach. I mean, so many things, wrote plays, performed music at different events to inspire people through the words of my songs. And I wanted to be able to continue that with this new way of connecting with people on social media. So thus lies Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. And I'm hoping that you will vibe with me. And in order to do that, I'm going to need your support. And one thing I want to do before we go any further, because I have some wonderful guests today for you to talk to and get to learn and get to know. And I also have a first-time sponsor that I'd like to give a shout out to. Connect Us. Pam Lewis from Connect Us is our first sponsor. I appreciate her, and I just want to give her a little shout out. Could you run the
Special
video?
Thanks goes out to Executive and Founding Director of Connect Us, Pamela Lewis, who is our first sponsor for Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. Recently awarded a Community Impact Award by Fairfield County's Community Foundation, Pam leads Connect Us by bringing together suburban and urban neighbors in partnership to improve the quality of outcomes for young people living in communities of concentrated poverty. One of 3 programs is Connect Us Academy for youth aged 16 to 21 who want to cultivate skills and learn to work in a professional business setting. For 14 weeks, students attend weekly after-school workshops at companies throughout Fairfield County. The program prepares young people to enter the workforce, pursue educational opportunities, and face challenges in new ways, and helps all involved to better participate in and navigate our increasingly complex world. Another program, See You on Stage, is a talent show program where young people aged 5 to 25 take responsibility for producing the shows, from inviting their friends and family to leading the audience in appreciating and supporting every young person who performs on stage. This program is designed as a place for young people to network with one another, creating new performances together, and learn how to be punctual, dependable, and part of an ensemble. This is a powerful community building activity, and the young people experience success often for the first time in their lives. Kudos to Pam Lewis and her team at Connect Us, and for supporting Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. For more information on their next event, which will be on January 17th, MLK Day performance of Bridgeport Has a Dream. It will be held at the Klein Theater at 2 p.m. For more information, go to www.connectusct.org or follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, give it up for Pam Lewis, Pam Hafer, and the Connect Us youth team. See, this is what it is all about. These types of programs allow young people and adults to come in and volunteer and get to learn new skills and meet new people to build their confidence to want to do great things in life. And these type of opportunities are all around us now. We can reach out, and a lot of these things are for free. A lot of times people say they don't want to volunteer, or they don't want to get involved with doing any type of work or building anything because they feel like it doesn't pay them. But I can tell you that volunteer work and getting involved pays you more than money can buy, when you're learning a skill for a lifetime, when you're meeting people that can teach you something that gains you access to things that you don't normally have access to. So I just want to give kudos to those programs and people that are engaging people. And I have two people here with me today, two wonderful guests here that's going to come on, and we're going to talk about, the different communities that we were raised up in and what we got out of some of those opportunities that we were able to take. So I want to introduce you to Shakima White.
Hello.
And Terrence King T. Finesse Johnson. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for being a part of the show today. I mean, like, both of you have some enriching stories to tell, some wonderful talents to share, and information to give to our viewers. And I just want to talk about, like I just talked about, I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens. Now, I know Shakima also grew up in Queens, but if anybody in Far Rockaway is watching, you know that we was never a part of Queens, even though we Queens. So we so far out in the water, it's like two different areas.
Y'all the sixth borough.
Yes, we the sixth borough. Yeah, you got to get over that water to get up out of there, and then to get to the other side of Queens, we got to travel through all kind of mazes to get to the other part that they call Queens. So I think it was, some similarities and some differences, in Queens. And then we have Finesse over here in Hillside, New Jersey, which is very close to Newark, New Jersey, which might have affected your growing up and kids you went to school and some of the things in the environment as there as well. And these urban cities, they share similar things, that we might experience in them, but they affect people differently. So I just wanted to ask, I'm going to start with you, Shakima, my rival Queens other side of town girl. So how was it for you growing up in Queens and in the part of Queens you were in?
Well, I grew up in the area that's technically called Astoria, but Ravenswood, Queensbridge, Astoria houses, what's up, which
shout out.
The exact opposite side. The exact opposite side of Far Rockaway, because it took me like 2 hours by train to get to Far Rockaway.
Wow.
So I almost never went there. It was just too far. But we had a lot of opportunity, and at the time there was a lot of after school programs and stuff that I got involved with, and I did dance since I was 7, so ballet, tap, jazz, all of that. But in the neighborhood, yes, there was a lot of people always outside. I knew my fair share of drug dealers.
Yeah, me too.
But I also knew all the different other adults in the neighborhood. I was very involved in a community center, so it was a lot of community involvement, more that I recognize now than I did then, but very different than probably what you had going on in Far Rockaway, but similar at the same time.
Right. And now, would you say that, some of those things, affected you in a more close way that might have gotten you caught up in things that you may have turned out to be a negative impact on your life, besides the drugs and things like that?
Well, how can I put this? So I was in the neighborhood, but I wasn't outside.
Oh, okay.
Like, my mom was
you wasn't
very
a hood
big.
rat like me.
My mom was very big on, like, we knew people and we knew stuff, and although I knew everybody on the block, I would say, hi, what's up, hang out for 5 minutes, and then I always had something to do.
Right.
I was going to every dance practice, karate, pool. Like, if there was something that was going on in the neighborhood that was free, I was there.
Right.
So
Excellent.
that's kind of how I was in but was out.
Right. So how about you? What was going on in Hillside, back in your time?
Well,
Finesse?
everything in Hillside was mainly based around, going to school. And then the extracurricular activities from school, intramural basketball, Little League football, the Cub Scouts, if he was into that,
Right.
and that kind of thing. So that's where it kind of started. And we had a community center as well, where you could partake in martial arts or, whatever the community center was offering. And that kind of like kept us off the streets,
It really does. I mean,
Yeah.
those activities really keep you involved for those who want to take the opportunity to get involved. And then there were the other kids
Yeah,
who didn't want to get involved like me. I didn't like to go to the corny stuff. I felt it was corny in the community center, so I was just out on the street.
Oh.
I was hanging out. I was at the parties. I was on the corner, hanging in front of my building, at somebody else's house.
right. We hung out, but we hung out at the community center.
Okay.
And if
See, the stuff we did, we couldn't do that all in the community center. We just wild.
they had martial arts, wrestling, baseball, football,
Right.
all these programs,
Right.
And if you were interested in them, then you hung out and did that kind of thing.
Right.
Or you would just hang out, on the street corner, like you said, or it got into trouble or whatever,
Right.
You
And that was a great thing because, I think that's what inspired me to reach the young people more so that were in the streets, because I used to hang amongst them and I knew that there was a need for something else for them to be able to make them want to be involved in something. And that's when I started working with community programs that said, instead of just giving young people something, why don't we ask them what are they interested in? Because we know a lot of adults will just create something, say, hey, we used to do this when we were young. We think the kids would love this, be good for the kids. And then they don't show up because they're like, we don't want to do that. But when you talk to the kids and ask them, what would you like to see? And you start working with them and let them be a part of building it, that's when you grasp them in. And, one of my things was hip hop music. I used to like to do music. Yeah. So anytime you're going to put me in a show, I'm going to perform, but then you're going to teach me other skills, how to do outreach, I'm going to meet other people, and build skills. So who are some of the people you met, at these community centers and when you did your dance and everything?
Well, I got involved in a community center because my mom volunteered there, and then she ended up working there. So after school, I would come and go to the community center, which was, mom's job. But then I ended up branching off and doing everything else in the community center. So I was Girl Scouts.
Okay, I was a Girl Scout too. Yeah.
Top cookie seller over here.
Oh, okay.
So ridiculous, right? And then through my love of dance and everything, I used to go to Harlem to dance and go to dance school there. And then there was a dance school in Queens also that I went to. And as a teenager, I went to high school for dance. And through meeting friends there, I ended up bringing that back to my neighborhood. So there was like one guy in the neighborhood that asked me, he was like, oh, I know that you dance. Do you know other people? We want to start a group. Because there was a competition called the Housing Show. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. And I knew some friends. They lived in Queensbridge. We lived in Ravenswood. Right. So I asked her, I was like, oh, hey, you dance. Do you have some friends? And she asked some friends who asked a friend. And then it became a group of 6 of us.
Okay.
And that's a wonderful thing. Because, see, people don't realize that when young people or adults, when they get together to create something together, it keeps your mind occupied. And not only does it keep your mind occupied, but it allows you to build an ensemble to learn how to create new things with other people. Yeah. And that's a skill. That's a social skill. Some people don't even realize that stuff like that is socialism, and it teaches you how to socialize with people to be able to feel comfortable with creating new things. Because you got to create something new with dance. We got to figure out which, are we going left here, are we going right? So you got to coordinate. You know, so it's a good thing to put young people or get into something where whether it's dance or whatever it is that's positive, to put them in a situation to build with others. So how did that work out for you in a community center? I know you got into other activities.
Well, yeah, I was into mainly martial arts and football.
Okay, so you a fighter. Ooh.
So, getting into football, we went in at a very small age, and all the way into high school and through high school, we learned football. We didn't play football, but, we had a great coach in the Little League era. Right. And he taught us a lot of discipline, and that stayed with me mostly all of my life, really, just having that discipline instilled in me at a very young age. Working together, teamwork, execution, finishing whatever it is you were set up to do, So just from learning those skills in football, they applied over into life skills as well.
Right. And, that's why I say that it's very important to have secular activities besides academics. A lot of people want their children to do well in school. But those secular activities and those, sports and dance and, art and traveling, even doing a cosmopolitan experience are the things that actually, hones in on a lot of skills with young people in experience wise. A lot of times young people or people can't learn or grow, even adults, is because they don't have enough experience of different things in life, what's out there. And that's why, I think it's very important for people to take, advantage of opportunities when they come, because you might think you just playing ball, or you might think you just act, dancing, and I might think that I'm just rapping, but I'm meeting people.
Right. So speaking of which, so we were preparing for the housing show, right? So, of course, we practiced in Queens, but then when you got closer to the housing show, you had to go audition, and then that was in Manhattan. And then we had to go to practices in Manhattan and figure out the train, to go there, because nobody's parent had a car to drive all 6 of us or whatever to Manhattan, right? So then we learned the train, then we met other people, and you met people from other areas when you got there. So, you start building new friends when you go there. And most of us kind of like to travel now, right? But it's because we all we're like, okay, well, let's look at this
and too.
Pick something on the map and figure out where to go and how to get there. And when you get there, hopefully meet some people that you didn't meet before and learn something new about.
It was similar. We had a similar experience to that too. We would just go on our own to practice, and go for auditions and all kind of tryouts or whatever, and we were on our own,
Right.
And
that's
that
very
taught us
important.
how to be independent as well.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. And I used to be the type of mother, as a young mother, I would take like 20 kids with me to the museum, to, roller skating, to different. I was one of those moms in the community. Once I got a little older, I had a daughter as a teenager. And once she got a little older, a lot of her friends, their parents didn't have the time to do, take them places and do things. So I know how important it is to develop and grow through those types of activities, and experiences. I started, like taking them to events and volunteering at youth organizations and things like that. And they really developed. I mean, these kids are grown today, and they still talk to me about how much it meant to them, to take them somewhere and get them involved in something. A show at a college made some of them say, I can't wait to go to college. I never thought about going to college until you took us to an event at a college. And I saw that I really was attracted to that type of environment. Yeah. So I got older, and it made me feel less, more confident about wanting to be in an academic environment like that. Right. So you'd be surprised what, you're, actually instilling in somebody when you take them outside of their normal environment, what they're used to, and let them learn something new through whatever that activity is. It's always good to learn something new. So while you all out there are watching, and thank you all for tuning in, I also want you to make sure that you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe, and please share this, because this is what this is all about, community vibes. We want to network people, and I'm sure other people would like the opportunity to hear this show and be inspired. So please hit the subscribe button, and please share. So Shakima, when were you inspired to get more involved in just dancing instead of just dancing, but like in community work, like actually going out and doing other things?
Well, dance kind of led to that. So that led to other talent shows, other places. And then when I got older and you're in college and stuff, I was like, well, I don't know if I really want to be on the stage anymore, but now I want to produce shows. So I found opportunities to do production when it came to shows, recruiting kids to come to talent shows, and then learning how to produce them and learning a soundboard and what it really means to teach other young people about what does upstage mean and downstage, like theater things that I learned in school, but I learned that because I went to a school that's for that, right? So everybody doesn't get that opportunity or have that interest until later in life. So it's like, oh, I can share what I learned with other people. So that's kind of what ended up happening.
Right. I wish we would have had an arts high school, because I would definitely went into the arts, with theatrical or whatever,
Yes, definitely. I mean, like, you are so phenomenal when it comes to music. I mean, this guy know how to play any instrument you could think about. I mean, I seen him play the drums. I seen him play the guitar. He plays the piano like Liberace. I mean, like, I've never met anyone that can pick up any instrument and make beautiful music with it.
You are watching a master at work.
You watching a master at work. That's exactly who you're watching. And, you know, it amazes me. It actually inspires me.
That's my next new title, Master Finesse.
Okay, Master Finesse.
Master Finesse.
Why not live up to it? Live up to it. That's what it's supposed to be about. And I have watched you, and even times when I didn't want to do music for whatever reason, I'm thinking, you know, I'm getting older. I want to try something different. I don't want to keep rapping, be the rapping granny, which I am anyway. But, you know, you inspire me because I can hear words to your music, you know. Yeah. And not only that, but King T Finesse, if y'all watching and y'all need a good producer, he don't just sample. Everybody samples different things. I seen this guy make music from scratch. I'm talking about play the piano, play the drums, recorded, and I mean, like, he does the old school, old time, real original music. Do y'all hear that music? My video, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, that's King T Finesse. That's the magic of King T Finesse hands. And once I heard that beat and the way he hooked it up, it was easy for me to write to.
Yeah, it was very easy.
It was very easy for me to write to. You know, because it's original, it's from the heart, and it's real. It's real music. I hear people, you know, today now talking about there's no real music out there. Well, y'all not looking. Because if you want some real music, you need to get with King T Finesse because that's what he does. He does it. Anybody like music or do whatever, he does it. He could do his own mastering of the music and his own recording and guide you. And
mixing and mastering.
All of it. Master King T Finesse. You know, so that's how you reached out and touched me in the community is by, you know, your music because I wasn't rapping anymore for a while and you came to me and said, hey, you heard some of my stuff, say, you got skill, girl. You know, I got some music for you. You know, and I heard it and it touched me like that. So I said, okay, well, let me take this guy on and do that.
And you wrote some very moving tracks as well.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Treasure, yes. On a note, yes.
Ain't I a woman?
Ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman?
Living
my dream. Okay.
And Get to Know You.
And my two newest ones I wrote were Diamond and Calling. Answer your call. Answer your calling in this life. I'll be performing that on the 18th if y'all going to be up in Connecticut at Connect Us at the MLK Day event at the Klein Theater. I will be on stage with the young people. So if you can make it up there, if you're in the area, please make it out. Not to put a plug in there, but I had to do that. But, you know, the funny thing about this whole thing is that Shakima came from dancing. She said she really wasn't in the streets. She hung out in the community center. Her mom was involved in the community center. I was a young girl from a single parent home in a rough neighborhood. You know, I was never necessarily out there doing anything like illegal or anything like that. But I was amongst the people who did things, illegal things and did things. But it was so weird how I got to be involved with people that hung out in the street. I mean, some of the people that people would say stay away from, they're the most dangerous people on the planet. And I was able to organize them, to do events. You know, to do talent shows, to do youth speak outs. I remember I produced a youth speak out in Auburn at PS42, and they had, you know, some of the biggest drug dealers or people in the community coming on the stage and talking about what they wanted changed in their community. You know, and when so many young people came because they respected me, they said, don't worry, nobody's going to fight or mess up your event, Brown Eyes. You know, we got your back. You know, and I felt the love from the community. They wanted to do something different. They wanted to build their confidence. They wanted to perform. I know so many rappers and singers and people from Far Rockaway, Queens right now today that are in the music industry that still talk about that time. You know, like a young rapper by the name of Blue. You know, she was like 8 years old. You know, when I used to produce and she sees me now and say, hey, that's the reason why I'm inspired now as a woman now.
Oh, I remember her.
You know?
At,
yeah, you remember her at the Producers Club. Yeah. Yes, you know, like it makes me feel like all that was worthwhile. So what I'm trying to say is that I would have never met up with you because we did a couple of shows together. I may have been working one end of the theater and you was doing the tech, but we were both came in through hip hop and you came in through dance, and we end up learning how to actually produce an entire event without rapping or dancing. I mean, that we were the producers and the directors of the rappers and the dancers, getting the venue, creating the timeline, making it professional, making sure the box office was ready when people came, making sure the stage was, organized, training young people how to come in stage left and exit stage right, telling them what stage left and right is,
Right.
We didn't know these things when we first started our trek, from the streets to rap, to from dance to the community center to now building all these professional events. But that's what it's all about. That's why community organizing and networking is so important, because you learn so much from different people that you that you talk to or you work with. So, Finesse, I want to ask you, when did you realize that you like music? Because I know I heard you said you did the sports,
it was
and all that
early
stuff.
on. I mean, like I had to be at least 6 or 7, maybe. And my parents were like in the hippie era, so they used to have a lot of percussion instruments around the house.
Right.
And I just kind of like grabbed an interest to it and started playing it, and then took a notice to that I had an ability, and I just started playing the rhythms and just had this rhythmic ability.
Right.
Musical rhythmic ability, and I was like, wow, and after that, I just wanted to do it from there on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he do some wonderful music. I'm so glad that he's my producer, but if anybody else out there want a good producer, he's definitely got house music, hip-hop music, slow R&B, ballad music, whatever music you're looking for. And one thing about music, there's nothing in the community that is done without music. Music
That's
speaks to the heart. Music speaks to the soul. Without music, at most events, it would be just a dry event.
True.
They always say you can't have a party without the DJ. Without the DJ, you might as well go home. Ain't no party. So, music it speaks volumes to people. Have you ever heard a song before that had no lyrics to it and it just made you emotional?
Music only?
Just the music only. And just your eyes welled up in tears. You didn't hear no words of influence to make you feel sad or anything. You just, felt like,
That's how I used to like to write music, just music only.
Yeah, and because it speaks to you, even without the lyrics. That's why it's hard to write hardcore lyrics, or hardcore song to something that's soft. They say, no, the music don't fit those lyrics. Because they work together. Mm-hmm. Music speaks something, and then your lyrics on top of it speak something else.
Right.
Or at least it should.
Speaks to it. Speaks to the music, and then speaks to the people, and then it touches your heart. And so that's why I like, and then dance. A lot of people don't realize with what you did, dancing, it teaches you connection skills. You learn how to connect with others.
Yeah, I always tell people that a lot of things, dance brought me into a lot of things, and a lot of those skills ended up being transferable. Right? So sitting up straight and, going to class and being disciplined in that way, that led me to being able to teach other young people, which led me to just like producing, right? So all of those things also are transferable to work, because I got to you go on interviews. Are you good with working in groups or alone? Do you need a lot of supervision? And are you a team player? So, in dance, you have to be a team player, right? Because you're dancing with a group most of the time. So all of those things were very transferable to both environments. And I think people don't realize that, like, the arts and being involved in your community helps you with everyday skills that you need all the time.
Will lead you to being successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really important. It's just like when actors and people who do plays and stuff together, they have to warm up through different exercises and games. And what those games do is they play an ice-breaking role so that we can break the ice of whatever awkwardness we might have, and then we begin to become in tune with each other, just like lyrics and music. We become in tune with each other through dance. We become in tune with each other in acting and having that chemistry we need to make people believe what we're performing. Just like the music, we become in tune with the tones and
it's funny we speaking about that, because when I started really doing music, it was mainly just musical only. So when I actually met you, you was this lyricist, so I saw music and lyrics together. Perfect match.
Right. And I didn't even realize
I wasn't
that.
really writing a lot of lyrics. I was writing a ton of music.
Right.
But I didn't have a lot of lyrics.
Oh, he had a ton of music. I was in music heaven when I met him. It was so much good music.
So many tracks.
So many tracks, so much good sound, so much good vibes. But like it all intertwines with each other. And I think that's where I came up with the name Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, because I want to vibe in the community like that. I want to be that vibe in the community that sort of meshes with everything and everybody and anybody that's doing something to work in harmony with making the community grow, with making the community benefit, with making people successful. And that's why Community Vibes was the perfect name for what my vision was in terms of reaching out to the community and wanting to network all these people together. Because one thing I learned is that a lot of times when you're in communities, like I'm not from Newark, New Jersey. I live in Irvington now. And I've been involved in the Newark community and producing events for young people, and I've been in Orange, and I haven't really done too much in Irvington, but I look forward to, doing some things. But I'm realizing that a lot of times people are territorial. I've been living here. What you know about this area? Who is this person coming in, working in my community
right.
and all this stuff, very territorial. Okay, fine. I didn't grow up here, but guess what? I'm here now. And guess what? The same ills I had in my community that I left is the same thing here. And guess what? It's going to take more than one person to fix it.
True.
We all got different ideas, different ways of doing things. And it's just like music. It's enough out here for all of us to get our song or our ideas out here and to make a difference in the environment. So I noticed that,
teamwork, we can all make
with teamwork. It has to be with teamwork, and I believe in every entity supporting each other. No matter what it is, if you come up with a dance school or a dance thing in a community center to bring young people into dance and take them out on different trips and learn about dance, if you do it through music, if somebody else do it through giving out food, if somebody else make clothes for people or give free haircuts, or I'm doing Community Vibes and networking all of you together, saying, hey, she's, doing dance, and afterwards they can go do the music here for your show there, and then they're giving free haircuts over here for when they go back to school. That's how it's supposed to be. I believe that we all live in the community, and no matter whether you just got here, you've been living here for 20, 30 years, I don't believe anything is by chance. I believe people wind up where they are for a reason. Now, it's a funny thing that I wound up in working in Newark, New Jersey, in the communities in Newark, New Jersey, and later on finding out that my mother's mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother, and my great-great-grandmother are from Newark, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. They were all born in Newark, New Jersey.
Wow.
And I just happened to, she moved when the riots happened in the 60s, my grandmother, to New York City to get away from all the violence that was going on during that times in the 60s. And they burnt down Springfield Avenue and all that stuff. And so that's how I end up growing up in New York. I got displaced from family members. I got a lot of family members over here in Newark, New Jersey. Those are my grandmother's sister's children.
Right.
And I just found it it's like a spiritual thing to me that I end up back near where they first started from, and I didn't grow up here. And so anywhere that I go, if anybody know me, even when I lived in Atlanta, I was doing community work. I was producing shows down there. I was out doing outreach down there. So I came up here and I was doing it here, and I want to continue to do that. But with this new avenue, I think that there's new ways, and I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities to go out to different events, to let people know what's going on. I want to be able to tell people. And I see some other people that are out there are promoting things on their own and doing things in their community, and I love it. I love it. But I just think that we need to encourage more people to do it. More people to not be afraid to come out with their ideas. More people that know what their community needs to bring other people together like me. Hey, Brown Eyes, I live over here, and this is what we decided to do. Maybe you can let me come on your show and talk to you about what we're doing. Because I want people that people probably won't ever hear about to come on this show and to talk about what they're doing. Because I'm going to tell you, it's those people that make the biggest impact on the peoples on the people in the community. Right. I mean, it's the mothers that open up their 2-bedroom apartment to bring the kids in to play games or take them in the park, or the father that starts the football or the baseball team, or go to the community center like your mom and encourage community members, be it adult or children, to come in to learn something new and gain something from some type of access or resource that they created through their own ideas and their own will. They're not getting paid for it. Some people end up, in a non-profit organization, and they get funding to be able to have these activities that help the community so much. But most of these people stepped out with all that they had or nothing but their time and their know-how.
Right.
And those people make so much impact on people's lives. I know that's who I am. Yeah. And so that's why I say to myself, it's very important to pay it forward for everything that I've learned. And now that I'm here in New Jersey, not that I'm just going to cover New Jersey communities. I'm in New York. You see, I'm in Connecticut. I think that other communities can learn from each other. They can learn from each other, and they can, somebody might hear something another organization is doing and say, hey, that will work where we live. I never thought about that. Let me call this person up, or let me hook up with them, call Brown Eyes and say, I want to speak to that person. Somebody might need some music and say, hey, I finesse, or you know what, Shakima, we having a dance recital for some of the young people. We've been working with some young people. You say you do text and you produce shows. Can you come and give us some tips or show us how to do this thing? And I think that's how it all is supposed to work out, in terms of getting, the connection with everybody in the community. Coming here, talking to people who are doing things in the community, ordinary people, residents, advocates, and activists that chose to stand up on their own and go out there because they care. And it's from the heart. We need the real people in the community. It's from the heart, and they want to make that change. So, I could go on and on and on, because this is my thing, boy. Ooh, they're probably like, ooh, Brown Eyes is going in. She going in. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a passion for this thing. Because I know what it's done for me. So let me ask you something. With the work that you did with your dance group, what are some of the things you saw in how it benefited other people that actually came from your neighborhood as well, and were, you became the tech person or whatever? What are some ways that you saw through that particular, act of dancing and being involved in that community center? What are some of the benefits you saw in people, and how did they grow?
I think it impacted a lot, right? So, of course, we had to branch out in the community and find somebody to do the costumes, right? Because we got to wear something, right? You don't want to just, who has all this money to go to the store? So sometimes we would get things made and mix that in with things that we bought from the store. So it was that. I think it broadened people's minds to what dance is, right? Because some people just think, oh, that hip-hop dance is this sexual thing you're doing in the street. Yeah. That's not what it is, and it doesn't have to be that, or it can be that, but who cares, right? It's something that's keeping everybody off the street, right? At the end of the day. So you rather me sell drugs or dance? I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think it impacted us in that way. I also would bring other people, or I would bring my cousin out with me into the community and do that. And she, we brought one or two of her friends sometimes. So that was more people coming out to do something positive and things in the neighborhood like that. So I think that's kind of what I really feel like I impacted a lot, was just, giving recommendations to other people, broadening just my mind and others, and pushing them to, just go down the block and see what somebody else is, or ask this person. If you see somebody who's doing nothing, there was someone else who wasn't involved and didn't think that she had a talent to dance. So we just made her our manager. Right. She ain't know a thing about managing anything, never booked us a show. Or nothing, but she would help out whatever way she could, even if it was just getting the team lunch. Right. So it was whenever we saw somebody that just wanted to kind of hang with us, we didn't push them away. We allowed them to be around us. Right. I shouldn't say allowed them. That sounds mean, but we were like, oh yeah, just join the game.
Gave them an opportunity to participate and benefit as well. And that's how I am. Anything I could get anybody else involved in, Hey, we don't just push them away. Hey, you lame. We don't want you with us.
Right. We didn't do that.
We won the show today. We looking good. You wasn't on stage with us.
Growing up with a lot of older people, I could never go with them. So I had to figure out things on my own. Yeah.
Right.
So,
some people are like that. But in the community vibe world, we don't push nobody away. We want everybody to be a part of it. So how about you? How did you see some people benefit in playing the sports and some of your friends back then? How did that work for them?
A lot of people went into college. Some guys went into pros. Through the Little League, program all the way through high school into college. So, a lot of guys made it and some guys didn't. Right.
Well, that is true. That a lot of times we see people who didn't take the opportunities that we took. They don't make it, and that's the sad part about it. I always told people that a lot of my friends back in Brooklyn, died before they graduated high school. So they wasn't even 18 yet. I'm talking about a time where people, funerals became the norm. And I think a lot of our young people nowadays, they experience the same type of thing now with all, the violence. I mean, people are very angry right now with the pandemic, with all of the political stuff that's going on. I mean, even the adults that used to be role models out here fighting. You see them on TV taking blows at each other. And so the young people are looking on like, like if we don't create our own world, that's Generation Z. I'm scared of them. They like, you guys are messing up the world. Okay, millennials and Generation X. We tired of y'all, like we got to make something on this planet that's all inclusive, positive, and peaceful. And that's what I want to be a part of, creating even, with people of all ages, because there's a lot going on. People lost their jobs. People lost their loved ones, wasn't able to say goodbye to them, in a proper way. And that stuff will sit with you for a long time. So you got a lot of depression. You're seeing people having mental issues. I mean, like the therapists and the psychiatrists and all of them, they are very busy now. Because people need people to talk to. They need to digest all of this stuff that's going on with the COVID and people just leaving left and right. So I think now is the time for us to really, vibe with the community and talk to some of these people with the resources and, with the activities and things so that people could really get a chance to get involved, to get their mind back, to get their mind onto other things and to get some hope in their life. And I think that's what this is all about. But we're going to move over to King T Finesse because King T Finesse wrote a song that I particularly love, and I call this Moments, in Music with King T Finesse. And I like to feature, his music because it's really powerful music and a powerful message. And this particular song is called Good Things Go Too Soon. Now, I want you to play that for me, Marvin. Play a little piece of that for me. Let's hear it. On a house set.
So many changes in the world today. People struggle from day to day. They don't have money to pay their way.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
What? Come on. I said it goes too soon.
It goes away from me and you. So tell me what you're gonna do.
Keep things going. All right, Marvin. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about. Good Things Go Too Soon by King T Finesse. Please go to his pages on iTunes and out on all the platforms, Spotify. Good Things. And the reason why I like that song is because it's so encouraging, especially for today's time. Like good things go too soon. Too many people left, and the first thing you see is going too soon. Yeah. Too young. Going too soon. And the reason why I feel like that's so important right now is because time is passing us by. Time is passing us by. People are leaving, but guess what? We are still here. And we have a purpose. You have a purpose out there, in YouTube land and Facebook land that's looking. You have a purpose. You have a gift. But guess what? Good things go too soon. Don't wait too long to take that step of faith and have confidence in whatever it is that you want to do in this life, that you could create for yourself and that will be a benefit and an inspiration to others. So before I go into the, because you see I'm really pumped up about this thing, right? I want to ask you, T. Finesse, what made you, inspired you to write that
Well,
song?
it was similar to some of the things you said. I just saw a lot of things going too soon. Once the pandemic hit, and just current events I was watching on television, people passing away, making new laws are being changed, things are happening with the laws, and so things that we had good years ago were being taken away, so it just kind of like came over me to write a song that, good things go too soon,
Right.
based on how this pandemic had us, everybody's locked down. You can't go out this day. That person can go out that day or whatever. You got to go shop or whatever. Stay 6 feet apart from each other. So it made me feel like the things that we had in life are gone. They're going or they're going to be gone.
Right.
And it's right now we don't want that to happen. So it's going too soon.
Right.
And now we're met with all these other different changes that we got to get used to.
Absolutely.
So that's why I wrote the song.
Absolutely. So now, if someone came up to you and asked you about your music, and then they were interested in doing music as an artist, talk to the people out there. Tell them what you would tell them if they would come to you and interested in music.
Well, if you came to me and you wanted to do music, I would just say make sure that you have a serious drive to want to do music and want to be an artist, and your craft is somewhat perfected. You've mastered something in music, and you've had maybe some fundamental learning in music, and then I guess we could probably work together.
Exactly, and I know that you went to school for music. You're not just this fly-by-night producer.
Right.
You went to school for music, and I also know, and you cannot go past this interview without telling them about your songs that streamed. How many streams you got on your songs? Come on, tell us about. He got big plaque awards on his wall at home.
Yep, yep.
Tell us about the streaming.
Don't be
I have
modest.
Okay.
Total right now, I'm about at 250,000 streams. And, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Come on now.
Yeah,
That is excellent.
I'm modest with it, but yeah, I think that's pretty good.
That is
Yeah.
excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful work, and I'm sure that you're going to be seeing much more from that, and from your music. And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to performing, some of the new songs that we created together, once COVID stops, so that we can get into some of these venues,
Right.
and we can get on stage, and I can still, continue to send out my message with the wings of T. Finesse vibes behind me while I'm on the microphone, and then him also performing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He also has an artist called Indigo Moon, who is a beautiful spoken word artist,
Yeah.
and her music is going to be coming out.
Her music is out
it's
now.
out already, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about her busting out on stage.
Oh, yeah.
She a
Yeah.
bit shy, but I'm about to do her like Ike Turner, and you're like, you about to get on stage, Anime. You finna get on that stage. You hear me, girl? But she's a beautiful spoken word artist, and I'm looking forward to being on stage with her. So Shakima, I don't want to leave you out of this part. Good things go too soon. Finesse talked about how the pandemic and losing people and everything has affected him and everything. How has it affected you? In this moment, and what do you see in your future in terms of community work and what you want to do going further to support community development? Besides supporting me, because I'm going to snatch you up, girl.
And I'm here for it. For myself, I will say that it's made me feel like I have to pivot. Right, we're all pivoting right now, and we have to do more things online. We're all getting used to being on Zoom all day, every day. I kind of avoid it as much as possible, but you kind of have to embrace it. Let's turn our cameras on. Well, sometimes, And it's made me really want to keep more in contact with friends, family members that, before maybe you didn't speak to as often. Yes. So, setting up meetings with them on the Zoom, or okay, are you vaccinated? All right, I'm gonna run out there and go see you, or not, or things like that. So it's made me like really cherish all the different relationships that I do have, and reach out to friends and family, and hopefully just help other people also pivot, because so many people I know have lost their jobs and they're looking for them. And okay, well, what job can you do from home, since we all are trying to stay home and not be outside? And what does that mean to go outside every day? And making people kind of feel more calm about what's going on, because if you're just looking at the news all day, it's making you hysterical.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing normal.
Yeah.
No, nothing's normal anymore. So
We have to actually live a new normal.
yes.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
New normal. I mean, like, how is that working from home? I mean, like remote working.
So at first it took a little bit of an adjustment. You get a little bit of cabin fever. But now I probably don't want to go out. I'm very used to it. I have a routine. I think when you work from home, if you get yourself into more of a routine, it makes it a little easier for you. I wake up, I change into other clothes that are also pajamas, but they're just not the pajamas that I had on before.
Right. Yeah.
And just keeping yourself present, because you kind of are like, oh, you're home and you're home all the time, every day, and it's kind of in a rut. So I've gotten used to it. I don't mind being home, and I try to make sure I get out at least a couple times a week and not just staying in.
You create a routine.
Otherwise, you get in this bubble of you by yourself, and it's like, oh no. And then if you keep CNN on in the background while you're home all day, you start going crazy.
Oh, God.
So-
I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's been very stressful, and I'm sure people out there in TuneIn Radio and iHeart and YouTube that's listening, can also, relate to what I'm saying, is that it's been very stressful with just not wanting to catch COVID. It's been very stressful with the people who don't want to wear a mask. You don't know, they got this conspiracy theory. They think it's false, But one thing is true. I know I lost a lot of family and friends. A lot of people. I can't even count them on my hand. So people are getting sick, and they're leaving here. So I don't think it's a game to play with when it comes to your life. It's not a hoax, because if you think it's a hoax, you ask these people who lost people, and they'll tell you that it's not so.
Not a hoax.
It's not so, and this is why I say, I want to pay it forward, and I think it's very, very, very important that Community Vibes is a part of the airwaves, a part of the community for 2022. I'm looking forward to collaborating and working with and going out to talk about what a lot of people are doing for the community. I don't care whether it's for mental health, for academics, for crime, whatever it is that you're doing. I can't be everywhere, but like I said, it's going to take more than just one person to do what it is that we're going to be doing. So I just want to thank you all for joining us tonight, and I just want to say that Community Vibes with Brown Eyes tonight was filmed at Bravery Studios. Shout out to Bravery Studios and Marvin, my engineer person. He did a great job. Give him a round of applause, y'all. Come on now. All right. The show was produced by me and my co-producer, Kirsten Fulda, who could not join us tonight. But shout out to you, Kirsten. And our music for our intro video and mostly all the hip-hop music that I do was done by none other than the most mastered producer here, King T Finesse. Make sure you check out his page on Facebook and Instagram. And I just want to thank y'all all for coming out and joining us. If you want to see this show again or see our future shows, once again, go to our YouTube page, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, that you're on now. So please click like the video and then subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get alerts for our upcoming shows, and that you'll be able to come on and know when we're going live. We'll be live monthly, and we'll be having maybe short other shows called Catch the Vibe Live with Brown Eyes, so that we could talk to the maximum amount of people in the community as we grow. So thank you once again. I want y'all to continue to come out. Thank you, Shakima. And thank you, Finesse. Give them a round of applause for coming on the show. It's not always easy to come in front of a crowd of people and say what you're going to say and do what you're going to do. And I really hope you enjoyed it. I want you to leave comments. I want you to leave your opinions. I want you to leave questions. Inbox me. If there's somebody that you know in the community that is doing something that you think would be great to come on the show to talk to, please let me know, and I will call them up, and my producer will get in contact with them, and they'll come on to the show, okay? So I want to leave y'all with good things go too soon. I want y'all to think about that and know that whatever it is that you want to do, it's time for you to step out on faith. If this show, me or anybody else giving you that confidence to do it, it's going to be this year. This is going to be your year to step out and do whatever it is that you want to do to create change, not just for yourself, but everybody else around you. The time is now. So we're going to leave out on good things go too soon. Yeah.